both are coming into, well, my dining room actually at the moment, and into Pat's office and Mary Ann's work from anywhere space. We're so glad to be here with Duff and the PDFA group on these great sessions that are really to help you find new solutions, learn about PDF and all the things that go around it. I'm Jonathan Malone McGrew. I'm our Senior Director of Engagement at Solimar Systems. We are so excited to be celebrating our 30th year in business and more than 20 supporting PDF, probably closer to 25. And so with that, we really put this together to have a little fireside chat. 15 minutes is not a lot of time, so we didn't want to spend it making you look at charts. We wanted to let our personalities shine through. And you can't say personality without bringing along an analyst in the industry, Pat McGrew, who many of you know well, who you would have seen in person if we were able to get together. And so we brought her along to share some wider perspectives outside of our vendor perspective here at Solimar. But then you really can't have a Solimar presentation without our Customer Advisory Council steerer, our Chief Experience Officer, Mary Ann Roman, and she's going to help share some of our use cases so that we can really prove out the true ROI from our perspective that our customers sees. So back to what Duff said, PDF. If you're not using it as your standard in your production of communications, your competition could be getting ahead of you. And we're going to tell you a little bit about why. And to do that, Pat, I'd really like to turn it over to you because I think you should help us position why PDF is really so important and why standardizing on it is an opportunity to do more and win more business.
So let's put a little historical context around this. Back when Marianne was starting Solimar and I was working in software, most of us were cutting our teeth on AFP. We lived a little bit of Xerox Metacode. We might have had a little bit of fun with Interpress, PostScript, PCL. I mean, there were a lot of terms. Oh, and then there was the line data, right? And conditioned line data and raw TIFF rasters, right? So we were dealing with a lot of things. And as PDF was born in the depths of Adobe, I know I had a close-up seat because I was working with the Adobe team as part of the work that I was doing with my company to try and figure out ways to make PDF viable in a transaction space, because we had sort of some interesting ideas. But our nut and bolt standards were really Metacode and AFP. As PDF got more robust, as it got out of its crawling stage of being display PostScript and got into its teenage years where it was able to allow us to do indexing and allow us to do a little bit more manipulation, and then sort of got into its later teenage, we'll call it college years, where it actually became the most reliable, most prolific stream for print and view in the world. That's the point. That was the tipping point, right? It was where all of a sudden enterprises around the world that had standardized on other print streams said, oh, wait a minute, you mean we can put a free viewer on everybody's desktop and we can let them easily view their credit card invoices, their utility bills, their proxy statements, as well as do soft proofing for display advertising, do soft proofing for direct mail work. So all of a sudden, especially over the last 20 years, PDF became more and more and more and more important. And not all PDF is created equal. So you want to make sure that you've got quality PDF emitters in your universe. Not all PDF is as tight and optimized as we might like it to be for archive purposes and network transmission purposes. But the historical context is important. Understand that the reason we talk PDF now and the reason it is so important in every aspect of print and view delivery is that it is a standard. And for those people who are still working with other things as the way they transmit and try to view, the reliability, the consistency, the ability to be insured, it's just not there.
Well, and so Pat, give us an idea. I'm thinking like AFP, PostScript, PCL. Like, are those what we're talking about when we're saying they're not standardized on PDF?
So think about what goes into an AFP file, right? AFP is really a print database, if you think about it that way. And in the same way that PostScript was a programming language that happened to have display components and print components, AFP was built for the large corporate enterprise that was trying to bring a lot of legacy data in. It was built to be a variable data container, right? Uh, so people will laugh. We used to have the OCAs, the object container architecture, the object content architecture. We had IOCA for image. We had PITOCA for presentation text. We had all the OCAs. We did not have tapioca. The running joke was that Lee Iacocca should have been running things. But the thing was that because we had all those things, basically what you had is a modular set of things that fit together that resulted in text. And if you were missing any one of them and you didn't have the exact perfect emitter situation, you didn't see all of the results. And that's what made AFP viewers really hard to build and really hard to maintain as there were changes to the yokas, right? Over time, there were changes, right? As we brought more color in, as we got smarter about variable data and variable content replacement. So an AFP stream is composed of a lot of pieces, right? And any one of those pieces goes missing, and it very often does in an enterprise environment because they're all secured elements. It's harder. Metacode, Xerox Metacode, VIP output, things like PCL, they are a lot more difficult to present onto in pixels onto a screen because that's not what they were built for, right? PCL
Right.
is a programming language that allows an image to be translated into commands that the printer uses to do the printing. UDK, Xerox UDK was the same way. So I know I'm taking a bunch of our listeners down memory lane here, right? And Marianne keeps laughing
Well,
because we've
well,
lived this dream
it's actually
together.
it's a great segue because we've got 7 or so minutes of our 15, which is great. So we've positioned that there's a lot out there that PDF really made it. Drew and you talked about this in our other
We did,
PDFA session about how
yeah.
the viewability, the consistency, the normalization of what you were working with just opened the doors to our digital age.
And you
So
can create a secure, solid file, right? I mean, and that's the thing that used to be missing from PDF was the security aspect. And once that all came on board, all the other enterprise formats, you didn't need to make excuses anymore. Now, all of a sudden, PDF could do everything that you needed, plus it had a free viewer.
And
It's
so
perfect.
now we're saying if you haven't standardized, which a lot of people, changing technology is hard. So
It's
Marianne,
hard.
tell us a little bit. Yeah, I know you had a couple people in mind, that people who've moved from VIP, people who've moved from AFP and PCL and PostScript, Metacode types of architectures.
Yeah.
Give us a sense of how impactful this is to our customers that have really done this
Right.
strategically.
Yeah, well, everything Pat says, yes, rings the bell 100%. Of course, we emulate AFP 100%, and a lot of our customers, of course, are migrating off of even older archives that have AFP, even TIFF, right, into PDF. And it is the ISO standard. Of course, it's been the de facto standard for a long time. But really, once it got the ISO, people, really started moving, of course, toward that. But then what they started to do in the older legacy systems is they would put individual PDFs in those systems. So the archives got bloated and everyone was like, oh no, PDF is too big. Well, the nice thing that we do is not only convert all of those older or legacy applications or data into PDF, but we can also, downsample and downsize and optimize the PDF for archive as well as print and other media that they like. I mean, we still see folks with microfiche, right? So even trying to get that, not talk about an older media, my son actually came across that in college and was shocked. um, And so, yeah, we have so many customers right now migrating again off of older legacy, especially archive systems, into newer systems, really optimizing the data. And you don't need to keep everything at 600 dpi. You can keep things at 100, 150, get the files far smaller. And of course, Jonathan, we have lots and lots of case studies on our website and customer advisory council members that share, you probably know the numbers off the top of your head better than me, about the savings they get from going even from 24 hours of processing to 1 hour of processing by really optimizing the PDFs. But it truly is the absolute way to go. And really the goal, of course, as Pat's been saying, is to deliver the content, right? That's reliable, portable, and of course, consistent. And so I think that's really the key that we deliver.
PDF is portable, and that's something that AFP can't necessarily claim.
Right.
Metacode, that would be a really entertaining statement to make. VIP is not necessarily portable, but even TIFF is not necessarily portable because it gets so big when you start looking at the big graphically rich documents.
Exactly.
Well, and I think we say we win the war with PDF or win the battle. You know, we have a lot of ways of talking about our chemistry platform and how it's PDF centric. We like people to pivot on PDF. We pivot on PDF. It was a strategic way of looking at the world. And I think it's been really important, you know, going back to those Drew interviews with you, Pat, where people are able to do more by being on PDF as their production standard. Now, that's not saying they're not, like he mentions HTML5 for fully digital types of activities, but that's not the world we live in when we're print service providers, implants, you know, commercial printers, label printers, packaging printers. All of this is powered typically day to day, most optimally by PDF. You can use other file formats, but we've seen a huge move to it with huge efficiencies. You know, we have customers who, with our state-of-the-art, you know, PDF optimization and our white paper with key point intelligence, and we're going to have a new video with commentary from Pat and Ryan, who helped write that report, about how impactful it is. You know, half an hour out of an 8-hour shift when you can truly optimize the PDF you're generating. How customers
it's one file format, right?
Yeah,
That's the other thing. That it's basically the same file format that you archive is the same one you view and the same one you print, which makes auditors really happy.
Yes. Yes.
And
it is
it means that you can change workflows, right, Marianne? We have customers who have gone from 24 hours that it takes them to do the full workflow production and digital delivery and print. I mean, the whole thing, and they've taken it down to an hour or less. PDF is just this powerful thing. So this solutions presentation isn't really about Solimar so much as it is about, if you want to get on PDF, we are huge champions of PDF and we love the standard. We're involved. So we want you to come build a relationship with Marianne and I. We consult with Pat and we bring her along because, I mean, I'm not going to name her birthday, but 40 years in the industry of print or more, we'll just put a plus like they do on car contracts. But we think it's really important. We think it's important for you to strategically take a step back after the last 18 to 20 months and think about where you can get those optimizations. We've seen our customers save six figures, hundreds of thousands or hundreds of thousands of pounds, dollars, you name the currency. Yeah, because they can look for ways to optimize, automate, and do more with workflow software, which is what we provide. And, you know, we're coming towards the end of our session. So I think what I would leave you with, and then I'll ask Marianne and Pat to chime in their last thoughts, is try to use PDF as a point to pivot, optimize, and get those savings you need because you can't get labor and some of your supply chain costs have risen and they won't go back down for some time. You can get some of that money back if you're smart about how you use workflow software and PDF. So Marianne, what about you? What do you want to lift people with?
Yeah, and also, you know, if you already are using PDF and you're a customer of ours, which would be wonderful, we have customers globally. Love you to check out our Solimar secrets because we have PDF plus JDF actually equals ADF. And you'll hear Pat and our president, Drew Sprague, talking about the benefit of how you can even grow your business even more automated, get better reporting, better visibility, and again, demonstrate the ROI that can be delivered.
Pat, last word.
So if you're here, you probably already know or and have some sense of PDF. What I want you to take away from this session is that there are myriad opportunities to make your PDF world better. You can do it with Solimar, and you can do it with some of the other, in fact, most of the other vendors who are parts of the PDF Association. It is a huge PDF community that exists to make your life with PDF better. So engage. That's the best thing you can do to make your PDF world great and to win with PDF.